Welcome back to Scotch Hour. This is Noah.
This is Jesse.
And this is Brian.
Well, hopefully everyone had another great week. Jesse, I guess normally I would ask you what Scotch we have on the docket for this evening, but really, why don't we just, we're going to do a battle royale here, I guess.
Battle royale.
We have the Glenfiddich number 15 year right here versus a Singleton 15. So, Jesse, since you normally start off talking about the Scotches, why don't you talk about the Singleton 15 first? I guess a little lowdown before we do a flip here to see which one we will drink tonight. And then after you do your quick lowdown synopsis, Brian, you'll give us a quick rundown on that, and then we'll go from there.
All right. Well, the Singleton 15 is a 40% ABV Speyside Scotch from the Highlands. And that's the quick rundown.
Okay.
All right. So your Glenfiddich 12. By the way, I like the tin that it comes in. I like the purple color, kind of unique.
It's a good purple.
It's a Glenfiddich 15, I should say. It's a 15. Glenfiddich is a Speyside Scotch.
So we got Highland versus Speyside.
Yeah, they're both Highland.
Yeah, that one says Speyside on it for Singleton. Yeah.
Oh, they're both Speyside Highlands?
Speyside Highlands. So it is a family-owned distillery since 1887. And I don't want to kind of reveal too much more about it before we start smelling and tasting and getting into it.
So who called it last time? Was it Jesse or was it Brian?
We're gonna let Brian call it. I believe he called it last time.
I did call it last time.
That's all right.
All right, I'll stick with it.
2 for 1.
I'm gonna go with tails. Okay. All right.
It's heads.
All right. Heads it is. Goodbye, Glenfiddich 15.
It is heads.
All right.
All right. Well, on the tasting notes, I kind of was thinking maybe this one was more up my alley anyway. So
Well, we can do a reboot. Push that button like it's
Singleton
player
1.
one.
Singleton 1? No, that's
Push
what I
the
was
button,
kind
you go back in time 60 seconds, and then... All right, Singleton 15-year Glendullan Distillery, 40% alcohol by volume. And we're, as far as the bottles go, we've compared a few of the bottles. I personally prefer that.
Hated it.
Yeah, this bottle is not what I consider sexy. It's a little thin for me, if you would.
It reminds me of something that a
pocket, like a pint.
like an old guy that's homeless drinking.
That's what I was thinking, the same thing.
Drinking a crappy Scotch bottle wrapped up in a
paper
bag. That's what this bottle looks like to me.
Yeah, it looks like an oversized, like,
Poor marketing, in my opinion. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt what you're saying, but I think it's poor marketing.
I think you're exactly right. I'm going to go straight to popping it open, and I think that's the biggest takeaway from I believe all three of us is that from a bottle standpoint, that is not for any reason why we purchased this Scotch. We decided after the last 5 weeks and 3 18-year-old Scotches that we wanted to compare a few 15-year Scotches, and these were 2, the Singleton and the Glenfiddich. Here with the Singleton, again, when we're looking at the bottles, the Glenfiddich, that's a sexy bottle.
Well, I'll say this too. There's been like 2 or 3 times we looked at the Singleton, and each time we were like, nope, and we ended up with Cardew. And then the other time we were like, nope, and we ended up with Mortlock. And so basically, yeah, it's just the way I think the color coding on it and the way the bottle looks is just unappealing in my opinion.
Very much so. A detractor.
It is a detractor. However, it does have a fish on the bottle, and you are a Pisces.
That is true.
And blue is a watercolor.
Are you saying we swim in Scotch here?
I'm pulling stuff out of my butt here. It's really what I'm doing at this point.
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon was in a movie, and he wore a teal jacket.
However, if you do want me to drop some knowledge here.
Drop some knowledge.
The Glendullan distillery for Singleton is exclusively for the United States only, where the Dufftown and the Glen Ord is for Europe only. Singleton is one of the larger distilleries. I think it's actually the 3rd largest distillery. Glenfiddich, however, is I think the largest, because didn't we talk about that once before on another podcast? How they had like the most.
The Glenfiddich 12 is the most consumed Scotch in the world.
Because it's also the most produced.
Correct.
Oh, there you go. And that's actually why I went with the Glenfiddich 15. Was because this was one of the first Scotches I ever bought at a restaurant. Like not just a bottle. Like I actually had a server bring me a Scotch, and it was the Glenfiddich 14 and then the Glenfiddich 15. So
you look
that's
like
why I
you're
chose this.
Sorry, I didn't mean it.
That's
you
all
just
right.
look like you look he's a little bit tight there. Yeah,
I'm just glad you weren't repeating everything I said again.
Hey man, you don't want a hype guy this time?
No, I'm good. I'm hyped.
He got the 15 because it's the first Scotch he got at a restaurant.
Thank you.
So he got the 15 because it's the first one he got at a
That's
restaurant.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, good hype. I don't think that worked. All right.
I am vigorously swirling.
Yes, not helicoptering.
We're not helicoptering today.
There will be no taking off.
We drink and know things.
That's right. Speaking of which, while we're swirling this vigorously, I just have to say, rewatching Game of Thrones episode 1, damn, there is so much that goes on in that one episode. It's amazing. Definitely pulled me right back in.
So it is a good show in my opinion. I like it a lot.
I just
Things
haven't
I
watched
do
enough
for
of it.
love.
Obviously, a lot of people were into it because it was around for a long time, and I really thought Erin would be into it because she likes to read those books, and it's the show's based on the
It's
books.
The books is called the Song of Fire and Ice. Or Ice and Fire.
She would rather read them. I think.
Actually, the books are like 1,000 times better
I think she
than
should just get a
TV
book.
show. But I mean, the show, like the first season, it actually stays pretty true to the book, but after that, it starts veering off way too far. Anyways,
Smell, scent of the nose.
What are you getting from the scent of the nose?
I get orange, and I'm getting it kind of like sawdust, like
American Oak.
And Jesse, what are you getting? I'm still vigorously swirling.
I see that. I'm getting some citrus, in particular, probably orange.
It's almost like a kind of that cinnamon spicy orange.
I agree, almost peppery.
I'm not getting that yet.
When I smell it, I feel that pepper in my nose.
know. Now that you mention it, yeah. As soon as I
Really, I'm kind of getting like some plum with strawberry.
That I am not getting yet.
Think about like when you get like a brand new red plum and you bite into it, that initial smell.
Nope, not yet. Did you wash the plum or is it still waxed?
mine is
No, you
still
wash it.
mine is still some type of like holiday clovey, cinnamony, orange, vanilla, like all those flavors. Like
Spicy fruitcake.
If you think of the color of it too, just kind of like the fall. It makes me
Oh,
think
yeah,
of fall and.
It has a good honey golden color, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What would you guys say on the color there?
Yeah, this just makes me think of like trick or treating or Thanksgiving, kind of that time of the season.
I guess I mean, if you think about like late fall stuff like that, and thinking of like maybe fruitcakes and stuff. One review was talking about dry figs, so maybe that's where you kind of getting that from. I don't know. Like I've never ate a fig. Well, I had fig Newtons, but I'm not sure that really counts.
I don't know. It tastes differently without the Newton.
Neither do I. I really couldn't tell you.
Jesse's putting on some aftershave now.
Ooh,
It's supposed to help you like
a little bit of heat.
I initially thought there would be a little bit of heat to the nose, but it really subsided. It kind of calmed down.
I am getting that sawdust you were speaking about, and it transferred almost from American Oak to oak sawdust from wood class, a memory I'm very fond of in high school.
That's what that's what popped through my head. Yeah,
All right, let's do this.
yeah I'm drinking a Fanta in wood shop.
So for me, I'm getting like slight honey with a bit of orange peel, finishing off with a little bit of earthy tones.
I get that more that zesty orange peel, the zest, not just
it's
orange.
not like orange. It's like a zest. It's like the peel.
Mm-hmm. Sharp.
And like I said, like that.
Definitely spicy.
Yeah, I'm not really sure if the spiciness is
It's
because.
the pepper.
Well, here's the thing. Like, what I've noticed is like we have to like let it stay open for a while before, because sometimes that what we call spiciness or even the hot usually dies down after you leave it open for a while. I'm really saying that I think in this particular one, I'm getting like the honey with orange peel or orange zest, like you're talking about, finishing with nice earth tones.
Well, that spice, that like not a bite or whatever, but it lingers with you in a good way.
I agree.
The finish on this is super long on the finish.
I am pleasantly surprised by the ugly bottle.
I am actually really liking this Scotch. I think I've been fooled before initially, but my first sip was. It really struck me as good. You know,
I don't know that for me, it's that orange. And then I mean it when I say it's like pepper. It's almost white pepper, the kind you put in your biscuits and gravy. And much like yourselves, I am really enjoying that white pepper long finish. Doesn't go away. It's not too hot from an alcohol standpoint.
All right.
Yeah, pretty good.
Now we got to go to the next step here. What does it taste like with a rock?
Number one, you don't need a rock. I mean, for sure. We always test.
For sure.
We test them, but sometimes we say, "Oh, I wonder if this one." I'm thinking it'll be interesting to see what it does.
Using that, or you want a fresh pour?
Fresh pour. Just really small amount, though, please.
Yeah, same with me when I. Maybe a little more than that. At least have it touch the ice cube.
All right, here we go. What's your stormtrooper sound?
Swing and a miss.
Swing and a miss. Swing and a miss.
That's your double.
Beautiful. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Well,
once again, this is one that if you want the flavor to go with it, drink it neat. I think the rock in this case here is really gonna mute out a lot of the flavor and really shortens up the finish and makes it very super easy to drink again. Honestly, I think you should try it out with a cube.
The ice?
Just so you can just have a hint of an idea of what it's like.
Well, I'll tell you what. For me,
this glass.
the cube, the ice changes the texture of the finish.
It's not as long anymore.
It's waxy. I feel I have this waxiness.
I wouldn't say it's
tongue
waxy, but
compared to because the peppery for me. Is
I don't know. You're the oily guy, so I don't really go with the waxy, oily stuff.
Yeah,
That's sunbathing you do. Get that beautiful tan.
Well, is she topless or what?
Is she?
Yeah. No. Sure. Yeah. Why not? Yeah, go for it. I'm all good there.
So, what do you think with the ice? Doesn't it like kind of really mute it out?
It does. It also makes it very smooth, almost creamy with a toffee finish for me.
Yeah, it's just like it makes it
See,
really.
The creaminess is what I'm getting because the pepperiness I love.
I do too.
I love that peppery, and
It's
this is
gone here.
gone.
Yeah, it's gone with the ice cube.
And it smooths it out and makes it more. I said waxy. You said
creamy.
There's that. Yeah, that creaminess. I guess I could.
And really, I think if you throw in the cube, it's something that you can sit there with one hand having the Scotch with a cube in it while you're mowing the lawn with a cigar hanging out of your mouth.
What are you saying?
Okay, I've got a story to tell.
No, so does he. That's what I do.
My son
every
Brendan.
Tuesday.
Oh, is that what you did?
That's what he does all the time.
Yeah.
He mows his lawn with a cigar in his mouth, drinking Scotch.
I was out there with my glass of Scotch, and Brendan's like, "How do you get the lawn bag on the lawnmower?" And I'm like, "Hold my Scotch, son." And I like give him my Scotch and put the lawn bag on.
Yes.
And I went inside and told Aaron, I was like, "Yeah, I look like that, that old dad. Here you go, son. Hold my Scotch."
To chores and Scotch.
I've got to do something manly. So I had to get the lawnmower.
There's
started.
another punch in your man card.
Heck yeah. Actually, I got to brag about the the wiring of the boat taillight to some staff members today at our first little meetings.
Back
All right.
to school, back
Back
to school,
to
to prove
life.
to daddy that I know
Back
food.
to reality. All
I like
right.
Billy Madison better. We are
Hey.
all stupider having listened. I
Such a great movie.
That is a good one.
All right. Anything else we want to add about the Scotch before we move forward?
Well, I'm going to tell you, we didn't really get to a price point on this, but this is moving, just for the record, right now where I am, and we'll see things change as the course of the night goes on. But this is in one of my top Scotches.
I just went back to the non-cubed, the non-watered down, as I'll call it, and yeah, I'm right there. It's in my top 10 right now. There's still a lot of beating it because it's not full of peat or smoke, which I really like.
When you go back, that spiciness is gone.
Oh, no, it's still there for me.
Still there for me. And that's
Not for me. It's not.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I never really got too much of the spice, anyways, in my opinion. But
because here's where it's going. When I go into Lagavulin 16, I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the
Supermodel.
peat, the wet leather, the earthy. Now, if I'm looking for that peppery spice, this is exactly where I'm going. This is unique in that good way for me.
so, for those of you who are keeping track at home, both Brian and Jesse said that there is a white pepper or peppery spice in there. Noah is saying there is not.
I get it. I get the spice, and I'm digging it. I am thinking, man, I can get the smoke from the lawnmower, so then I'm covered.
Yeah. No, I mean, it really does. I want something that is, like with the Lagavulin, I like it because it's unique to Scotch, that peatiness. I like this because that white pepper that you're not, that pepperiness, that spiciness is maybe not unique to this, but it's very good for this. So I'm liking this.
I think it's a very quaffable Scotch, regardless if you go neat or with the cube. The cube just makes it really super light and easy to down.
So it reminds you a little bit of the Caribbean cask.
No, the Caribbean cask had a lot more
Mango,
citrus.
right.
Yeah, it was a lot more sweet.
I love the
I'm not sure how that
spiciness.
held up like the next day or anything because I didn't have it on the next day. But
It was still good.
on the initial drink, the Caribbean cask was pretty tasty. I remember.
So
you weren't here for that one.
No, you couldn't like get that, dip your tongue in that and get like that pepper
There's
stays on my tongue.
there's like a slight
Spicy.
pepper
It
at the
just
tail
stays on
end.
my tongue.
There's one like at the tail end for me, but it's not like super duper peppery.
I love the long finish and the sawdusty oak flavor that goes along with it. It's still not top 5, but for a $55 price point, pretty darn good.
I think within the 23 bottles that we've tried,
Bottom 10.
I'm not gonna say bottom 10, but it definitely fits in the middle of the pack. It's not drowned it out in the middle of the pack by any means. It does have its nice characteristics to it, but it's not in the. I don't think it would be in my top 5, but it's probably not in my bottom 5 either.
Yeah.
For me, this is probably creeping into top 5 because it's memorable, and it will be memorable for that long finish and for that spiciness. So for me, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that's a little bit unique.
So
you know what I'm not looking for?
Okay, so right now you have Enigma, right?
But I'm not sure. Yeah, so Lagavulin, Enigma question mark.
Okay, how about Oban 18?
Yeah, but still, I mean,
Lagavulin 16.
oh yeah, that's number 1.
Lagavulin 60.
So those are both of those are probably above this one right here, right? So far,
Lagavulin 16 is above this one.
if you're saying the Oban 18 is not above this, then I think there's something crazy.
Well,
about you.
I'm just telling you. I'm telling you. I do remember the Oban 18 being good. Yeah. So okay. So give me so okay. So if I went that and then did the Enigma, this would be what, 4?
that would make it 4.
Yeah.
But then you got to think about like the Oban Night's Watch.
I never had that.
What?
No, I did not.
Yes, you did.
I did not.
You had it on that post show.
Well, at that point in time, I can't.
That was like
remember.
12 scotches in an hour. It
Okay,
was hard
yeah,
to
that
remember
was
all
a-
That was not part of the 12 scotches in an hour. This was like
I do remember. It was when we were all standing back here, and yes, it was. Yeah, we were
pours were
in no
quick
position
and
to
dirty.
be tasting and giving any type of feedback on the taste. So for me right now, given my limited, this is nearing the top 5.
Okay.
I like it. I like it.
I like it a lot.
I like a lot.
I like you
So
a
you're
lot.
saying we got a chance.
Oh my goodness, Jim Carrey.
Okay, anything else anybody wants to add?
No, I think we're good to move on. Revisit it at the tail end of the show.
Okay, so the next segment here of our show, we're going to do some quick shout outs and talk about the dinner we had tonight. So real quickly, I'm going to do a quick shout out to Nestors.com. If you go look at the reviews, they are terrible reviews. Ton of 1-star reviews. I honestly thought I was going to get swindled by Nestors. I thought my money was taken away. And I was pleasantly surprised to receive both of my Oban night watches in a relatively quick time frame. The one disappointment I had, which is the same thing I had with Caskers, which is they did not put in the tins with the bottles, which if we were collecting them, it does drop the value of the collection down. But since those two were only meant to be drank, I don't really care about not having the tins. I have not reached out to the customer service, so I don't know how the customer service really is, but I wanted to give them a shout out because if you do read the reviews, all they do is they talk about they never received their bottles, the bottles are broken, all this stuff. So I was just pleasantly surprised I got my bottles. So that's my one shout out.
Nice.
So
Okay.
do you have a shout out?
Not so much this week. Nothing off the top of my head. They didn't know phenomenal customer service. Average week.
I'm going to mention it because I think it's something we need to revisit and go into great depth in the future. You've mentioned it as well. We went as a trio to Maggiano's and had some amazing food.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. And the family deal, the family meal, which is easily 6 courses plus a salad and a dessert. So you can call that 8 courses. I would. $35.99 per person plus tax and wine. We'll go into great detail in that in the future. That has absolutely got to be a real stop for the show. That was not a stop for the show. That was just a night of whining and dining ourselves. And man, nobody treats us like we treat us.
Yeah. I mean, really, after we did that, I was like, dude, we have to do this for our 25th show to celebrate that we've been on air for 25 shows.
Yeah.
And I think it would be really awesome to do that and take pictures and really give it justice.
Yeah, it was well done, Maggiano's. We're not going to spoil it and give you too much of the show right here, but man, yeah, we have a lot to enjoy and talk about.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, who wants to say where we went for dinner tonight?
Rock Bottom Brewery.
Yes. No. Was it? Yeah, Rock Bottom Brewery.
Yeah, Rock Bottom Brewery. Okay, so what was everyone's
What was our
thoughts?
rationale? We went there because we had a coupon for a
That's right.
yeah, to get a full price
Entree
meal,
for free.
Entree for free. And I even told you guys that as we went there, I was setting the bar low because I'd eaten there before and was not impressed. So,
Which is really weird because, I think back in the day, when I was a little bit outside of college and stuff, you used to have you great great beer.
you and I used to live near one.
Yeah.
Remember up off Zuna, whatever that street was way up there up north off I-25?
Are you sure you're not talking about CB and Pots?
Yes. There we go. That's my confusion. I hate CB and Pots. So that's why I said the bar.
But the Rock Bottom Brewery,
totally
though,
different, clearly.
Yeah, that used to be right next to the Promenade. No, I'm good. Westminster Promenade, AMC 24.
Yeah, that was kind of after my time. That thing was not really there when you and I were growing up.
Not when we were growing up, but when I was there in college.
College, yeah, and I would not really
Post-college.
There's no way I would ever go on that area. So I just,
Any case, I thought I got the
please.
the Hatch
Absolutely.
green chili burger there, and really they just should have just called it a hamburger. There was I didn't see any Hatch green chilies on there. It didn't taste like it had Hatch green chili, and so the cost for $14 for a burger that didn't taste like it had green chili on it, I would say it was just subpar at best. The waffle fries that they had, I think you get better waffle fries at Chick-fil-A. So all in all, I was not super impressed. Although I did like the, even though I didn't drink much of the beer because I had a headache at dinner, I did think the Elk Brown actually tasted really well. So for the beer, I had a good, nice malt taste for it for a brown. But that's all I got to say about them. Service was nothing to write home about, but nothing to complain about either.
Yeah.
So it was just okay, in my opinion. Overall, I'd give it probably like a C+.
Okay.
All right, let's go high.
I went with the Umami Wagyu burger.
Your mama.
Umami.
Umami. So that's like the special
What do you want? What do
Japanese
you want?
beef.
Umami. So I got the special Umami Japanese Wagyu burger beef, and it was good. It was I had it cooked medium, and it just it just melted in your mouth. It was
And you got to stop rubbing it in.
Yeah. So next time you go there, well, because every time you're going to have to order before me because you're always like, oh, that's what I was going to get. So next time you got to just step up. Because I
guess I could order the same thing you get and be your hype man for dinner too.
That's right, Brian. Get the Umami. Get that burger.
Is that like, hey, I just want the MILF on the menu, you mommy?
Umami. Stacy's mom has got it going on.
Wagyu burger and Umami.
I had the Southern Shrimp Cocktail, and it was good. It was shrimp. It was cocktail. The one thing I probably should have just paid more attention to with the menu is that the peels, the skin, was still on. And that's not what I look for in a shrimp cocktail. I want ease of use. If you want to leave the tail on, that's one thing. The whole thing is another. Flavor-wise, though, outstanding. Their sauces were amazing. So the food didn't disappoint. The presentation was a little less than what I had hoped for just because I didn't expect to have to peel the shrimp. I just wanted to, dip and pop. So with that, the service, like you guys, was mediocre, and that's not a bad. Where his head always goes. That's what she said.
Did you say that?
I did not say that. He said it.
That's what he said. What did he say?
He said he wants to dip and pop.
Dip and pop, baby. Dip and pop.
And that's all I was looking for. And, it was a lot of work. I had to work for that flavor.
He had to work for it. There was no dipping and bopping.
Easy dipping and bopping. Hard.
It was hard work, huh, Jesse?
I mean,
you had to work for that dip and bop.
It was more work than I expected for $11.
Popping and bopping.
Popping and pop.
Dip and pop.
Dip and pop.
Dip and pop.
So you had to work for that. Dip and pop.
Yeah, for $11. I shouldn't have had to work. I should have just been able to dip and pop.
I agree.
See?
I agree.
If you when you go into a shrimp cocktail, you're looking to dip and bop. Everybody knows that.
But again, the cocktail shrimp sauce was actually great. Usually I would my steadfast would be Bookbinders. Cocktail shrimp sauce, not the spicy, just the regular, the original. And it's amazing.
You don't make your own?
No, man.
Isn't your own just like you put a little horseradish, some ketchup
and some other stuff, yeah.
Some like lime or lemon?
Yeah, maybe. Your own seasonings that you might want to put in it.
I don't make my own. I use Bookbinders because it has never let me down. But this was surprisingly good as well. Right. My beer, my IPA, also good, not outstanding.
County Line Copper? County Line Copper?
Yeah.
Was it County Line?
Copper, yeah, I think it's County Line Copper.
That. Yeah. Good. Hadn't had a copper since whatever the copper beer was that Boulder Beer Company produced all those years ago. Because I had a picture of a mountain biker on it, and I was like, oh, I got to try this beer.
This is cool.
Yeah. Not that good.
All right. Well, I think that takes care of dinner. That takes care of our shout-outs, takes care of the scotch. So now it is time for Smarter Challenge.
Smarter Challenge, mate.
Smarter Challenge.
All right. So, Brian, this was your Smarter Challenge. So please remind everybody what it was. And then you can choose whoever you want to start with. But mine will be very short and quick.
We should probably start with you.
Dip and pop.
When I watched American Psycho, I wasn't looking for...
So what was it first? So
American Psycho.
Okay.
American Psycho. When I watched American Psycho, I wasn't looking for any dip and pop. Okay, I was looking for some
deep
meaning analysis of the movie American Psycho. Because on the exterior, you know, you look at it, it's pretty much slasher, sex, crazy, boom.
I don't see any of that.
There's a whole lot. Yeah, trust me. My son got to see it as I was watching it. I was like, this is not comfortable.
He's like, what knife, Dad?
This is not comfortable. Let's see what he's doing to these women, son. Don't look. Shield your eyes. So yeah, so a little bit of analysis, because when I got done watching it, I kind of had my mind made up on like what all went down. So I want to hear your take.
So what made you watch in the first place? Did you actually go out of your way to go pick out that movie and watch it?
Okay, it was I was surfing on Amazon and came across, you know, Christian Bale, and I'm like, you know what? I've heard of American Psycho. Everybody's watched it. It's kind of a classic or a cult classic. So I was like, I just got to check it out. I'm just going to turn it on. And like I said, I was amazed that Erin stayed in the room, because, you know, she doesn't usually like gory action, you know, especially when it's like kind of pretty masochistic, you know, male abuse of women in that. But yeah, she did eventually leave.
She did.
And I just watched it.
Because Christian Bale put his shirt back on. She's like, I'm done.
Yeah, maybe. The dude he was in almost as good a shape as I am, but then I was like, whatever.
And you're a 10, he's a 5.
She sees it every night. She doesn't need to be watching.
You gotta hold back a little bit more.
Bale. I gotta hold back fat of it more. That's what I heard you say.
No, you gotta hold it back a little more. You can't let her see that ripped body every night.
Triangle traps. Yeah. So okay. So Noah, you watched it. I had only seen it the one time before, and then I just recently rewatched it for the Smarter Challenge. But
yeah, I do own the movie on digital format. So it's kind of a, because I do like horror movies. It does make for, it's more of like a psycho thriller type horror movie.
Gore,
yeah,
a little bit of mystery in there. A
little bit of mystery. I think it does. I think if you look at that movie and you look at what time frame it was built or that takes place in the 1980s, you have to kind of think about like how high sexuality was during that time frame with movies and stuff, even as like when we were kids, like watching like 16 Candles and all that type of stuff. And I think if I'm not mistaken, I think in one of our other old podcasts, Jesse, you mentioned something about how sexuality in movies were at its peak during the 80s.
It was, and it was when we were talking about our favorite vampire movies.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. And then so you take that into account. You take into account like how materialistic things were during the 80s and how people were trying to keep up with each other, like keeping up with the Joneses type of thing. Take into consideration drugs during that time frame, like cocaine was
big in the 80s. Not that we knew, but yeah, cocaine was big in the 80s.
Cocaine was big in the 80s.
Miami Vice.
And I think you see a lot of that in this movie where Christian Bale and his buddies or his friend or so-called friends, they hide themselves inside of materialistic things. They're all very materialistic. Like they talk about like the clothes that they wear, the designers that they wear. They talk about
the restaurants they
go to.
They can get into. Yeah.
And they talk about the places that they go, just other than the restaurants. And it's almost like with Christian Bale, he talks about this in the movie, how he has no personality and really he has like no friends, and really his connection to society is through being materialistic. Because you like in the beginning part of the movie, he talks about like the type of lotion he wears, the type of like shampoo he uses, the type of
just the daily regimen he goes through every day to look his best.
Yeah,
how many crunches he can do, half as many as I.
And really,
like get warm. Man.
Usually before I do that, I do that many crunches before I sit on the pot in the morning.
And
take a dump.
And if you really look into it, if you really look at it, he's really kind of soulless. Really, everything that he's caught up in has to do with being materialistic, and that's his only connection to society or his connection to his so-called friends. And you can see that really a lot when you see the whole comparison between business cards when they're all like as business executives, like, oh, I got the eggshell, oh, I got the bone white, oh, I got white, pure white, you know, and I got raised lettering.
Yeah, the
and all
embossed
that.
or
Yeah.
whatever, yeah.
And so you could see like how he gets all like nervous, like, oh, he's got a better card than I do. Right. Or he has a better suit than I do, or he's able to get into this restaurant or I can't. And it's all around being materialistic. And because he has like no soul or no connection to other people, you see it to start weighing on his psyche. And it goes to a point to where, since he has no real connection to society, either he, A, goes into killing people, or he starts imagining that he's killing people. And as you go through it, I do believe it's a little bit of both. I think he actually does kill at least 1 or 2 people, maybe 3. But I also think he imagines killing some people as well. And I think his mental breakdown is really due to his lack of connection to society or to other people, and being caught up in being very materialistic and thinking that his self-worth is wrapped around materialism. That's kind of my analysis on it.
Nice.
All right. I like a lot of what you said, and I think there's a lot of truth to what you said. I'm going to take it a step back, talk very briefly about the history. Bret Easton Ellis wrote this book in 1991, so fresh on his mind are the 1980s. Something to consider, since it is taking place in 1987, as it is in the book, in New York City, nonetheless. And then, I mean, Christian Bale does a nice job playing a handsome, young, urban professional named Patrick Bateman, who lives a second life as a gruesome serial killer. And so part of this, going to your analysis, absolutely, there are these pieces where he's comparing a suit and a business card and life. He's taking care of himself. I love that you brought that fact up. He is regimented. He is very much refined, and he's like a military man. So now take a step back and consider just the man in general. He is a psychopath, American psychopath. And when you consider a psychopath, one of the things here is that the best way to describe a psychopath is they go through life very easily, often very successful, just like this character. And that is because they don't emotionally connect to others like we do. For me in particular, you guys know this about me. You've seen me watch movies, and when it's funny, I am laughing hysterically. I am rolling on the floor. When it's sad, my kids are looking at me and they're saying, Dad, please stop crying. You're embarrassing us in the movie theater. And that's when like John Wick gets hurt, you know? So we're not talking about some Schindler's List situation there. But it is something where a psychopath doesn't connect with people in the same way. So here he is, and he's not connecting with people in other ways, but what he can connect with, material goods. What he can connect with is a perception of success and what that means. And part of the challenge I took here as we were talking about it was the fact that how many females I have known who love this movie. And so over the past week, after revisiting the movie and looking at pages of the book, I did not read the whole book. It's a quick read, but I did not read the whole book. And I revisited it with some of the females. Thank you to each and every one of you who are willing to spill out your thoughts with me, because you were right in line with what I thought. So here was one response, and I'm like, okay, Christian Bale's character, Patrick Bateman in American Psycho, sexy or not sexy, hot or not hot? And one person looked at me right dead in the eyes and said, consider for one moment you take away the serial killer and keep everything else. Attractive, well-dressed, great job, runs around with all the best crowd, corporate, cards. Meticulous, gets what he wants. Whether it's who he dates, we'll say, where he works, where he's going to a woman, what woman he wants. And the quote-unquote final statement was, the woman's response is, get in me, give me a baby, and take care of me like you take care of yourself the rest of my life. Now, women, the problem is that usually ends that night. That's one female who said that. Here's another one. Here's another one. These are females' responses. So
run that back by. What was her final stance?
Get in me, give me a baby, and treat me like you treat yourself the rest of my life.
Wow.
Yeah. So here's another one. Deep down in the recesses of every woman's heart is that she tends to fly off the emotional handle. There's something really attractive about a man who can deal with that and is willing to do just that. And the response
How does he deal with it? He kills them.
No. Actually, that was the plan all along. He's going around. They are running away from him down the stairs at times. He's killing them, cleaning up the mess. No problem. None of that stresses him out, by the way. None of these are triggers. So her response was, yeah, I don't know how my husband's done it. And, I go off the handle and I just freak out. And he's just like, all right, you finished now? Let's go clean up and move on. And there's something really attractive about a man, though, who can get in these situations. And it's not a big deal. It's like, okay, let's move on.
He's like, all right, you want to scream, yell? I'll just chop you up with an air gun.
Another one was the book is sexy. Yeah, the book is sexy and edgy. And there's something about the character that makes it. That one was a simple one. And then one more, and then I'll just kind of move on because I know time is always finite. A serial killer has an ongoing drive that most people do not. His drive is continuous, and it's about good-looking habits and desire. Most men get married and get lazy. A serial killer is always maintaining what they started with. So it's one of those things where you
watch Dexter.
Yeah, you get married. And then all of a sudden,
Dexter?
No, but I've been married and I've become a psychopath, so I can understand. Yeah.
So you get married, you put on the 40 pounds, or you chop off your hair, or you do all these different things, and it's a piece of comfort where it's not that every woman wants. They really want that long term, because a lot of these were younger women who were like, yeah, that's just sexy. Give me this guy, have him take care of me. He dresses in suits. He's got the in crowns. He takes me to the best restaurants. He lives a great life. The apartment he wants, everything he wants, he gets. So he's driven, he's motivated, but more importantly, he's successful. Now we're going to take a step back to a psychopath. And psychopaths in the past who have tried.
Well, they say most CEOs have psychopathic tendencies.
Absolutely. But most psychopaths who have tried to return to what we consider a normal life. So we feel bad when we get hurt. We care about each other as friends. It's not just, you're my boss, I got to do what you say, or you work for me, you got to do what I say. It's this emotional connection. A psychopath who tries to change life to be caring says that is the most difficult part of life, and it is draining. So it's part of that introvert versus extrovert. How do you recharge? Is it alone or is it with others? And it's very arguable, what Patrick Bateson is in the movie, but he is definitely an attractive character. Now, another thing to consider is this is, to my belief, all done intentionally by Bret Easton Ellis. And one piece is that in 2002, he came out with the movie Rules of Attraction. And I think the guy knew his art, he knew his craft, he knew people, he knew the psychology, and these are things that are sexy, that are attractive. For me, the movie is great entertainment. I am enjoying every minute of the movie. Yeah, there's a little bit over the top, but man, that's all a part of life. You don't go to Las Vegas not to be over the top at least a few minutes, make that irrational bet, or, do something crazy. So it's a great movie, and still to this day, I did not personally meet or question one female who wasn't like, yeah, I love it. It's edgy, it's sexy, who doesn't find this man attractive. And it's very easy for them, of course, not married. Every single one of them not married at this point was this piece of, they just dropped this whole fact that he's a killer out.
All right, Brian, bring us home.
All right. So here's the big thing is, the big question, I think it is who did he kill? And did he kill anyone?
Prostitutes that he called and hired because he was not emotionally connected, so it was very easy and simple. And at the end of the movie, he invites over his secretary, and he cannot kill her because he becomes somewhat emotionally attached when he finds out she doesn't know what the heck she's doing in life. She's got no purpose.
I honestly think that Reese Witherspoon, his girlfriend, calling up, put a pause into him because he was going to kill her.
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
Yeah.
So you know what? You're not wrong. I'm talking about the book right here. More in the book is he's getting ready to kill this woman, and she's like, "Yeah, I don't know what my purpose is in life," and he's just like, "Man, you're not a danger to me. You understand?"
Well, see, here's my take on the whole thing.
Okay, yeah, you do your analysis because then we gotta.
Okay, I haven't even had a chance to analyze.
I know you asked a question, so that we start talking.
Okay, so. The thing is, if you go back to the beginning of the movie, now the movie, by the way, top-notch cast. It's Christian Bale, Reese Witherspoon, Jared Leto, so really good cast, good movie, and good soundtrack.
Your son Dylan's in it.
Oh yeah, you said the guy from the blonde with his hair combed to the side. But here's the thing. It opens up at the very beginning, and he's going to buy a drink from the waitress. And the waitress is rude to him. And she turns around and he's like, you. And so he imagines himself saying exactly what he wants to say. What I would love to say to this, he imagines himself doing that. So he's already in this position where he has a vivid imagination that begins to run away with him and spiral. And as he thinks these things, does he ever actually go through with it? Because in his journal at the end, when she finds it, it's all just pictures and doodling. So for all we know, what I gathered from it is that it's all just the deranged doodlings of a madman that never actually happened. Because how else can you explain that? I mean, is the realtor in on the cover-up? Does she clean up all the, the blood and the dead bodies?
I think your big question there is when he talks to his lawyer and what his lawyer says.
Well, and the fact that Paul Ellen and, they never really got around to was he really dead or not. And the one guy's like, I totally had. So, and the fact, if you look at it, it gets really far-fetched at the end where he's just running around and he shoots up cop cars that blow up. And, so it was all just this is my opinion. This is where I think it's open is I believe that the entire movie was imagined. What he would like to have done if he was the person he always wanted to be, because he couldn't get into the restaurant. Paul Allen could. He couldn't get, all these different things. So in his mind, he, whenever he didn't get his way, his mind acted it out. But I'm just, in my symbolic vision of it, he didn't kill a soul in the whole movie.
I think so great.
No, I was going to say, you just justified every one of these females' desire to have him because he's a good guy.
He just dreams about killing people.
I think if you analyze the movie, I'm pretty sure where him and his buddies are at the very beginning of the movie talking at the table is the very same table they're at the very end before he walks up to his lawyer and says, "Hey, I killed Paul Allen." So I think that's something else to maybe consider when you're doing your analysis watching the movie.
Yeah, to watch it again. Because kind of like, it's like I told the one girl, Erin, my wife's friend, she had never seen Fight Club. And some people, when they watch Fight Club, they don't really get it. They don't understand because you see about the flashes and stuff, right? So they're just kind of, not to be a spoiler alert, Fight Club, there's not two people. It's just one person and his psychosis, other version. Same thing with Christian Bale. There's not all these murders. There's just him in his normal life trying to fit in.
I think he actually did kill at least one person.
Who do you think he killed?
If it's not Paul Allen, I think he definitely killed one. I think he killed
at least one prostitute.
Yeah, at least one of the prostitutes.
Or the homeless man.
Yep. So I think,
but I don't know. I think but that's what's open to interpretation about it. Because really, they showed that whole. Some of it is just it's so over the top at the end, dropping. Dropping a chainsaw and having it fall and hit her right in the back. It was just blowing up cop cars.
Yeah, you're not going to blow up a cop car with a 9mm.
Yeah, and then just and showing up and deciding to shoot a security guard at random.
I think the security guard that he shoots at random, it's not totally random because he says his name.
He calls him Mr. Smith.
Yeah, so that's going to make you think about something else.
So his name was Mr. Smith the whole time and not Mr.
Maybe a
Bateman?
witness.
Maybe a witness.
Did you guys also catch the I've got a lunch date with Cliff Huxtable?
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
So
You know who Cliff Huxtable is, right?
Yeah. From Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
So, but in any case, think about back to what you're talking about with Fight Club. He doesn't know he's Tyler Durden, and he is who his other person is. I forget what it is.
Oh no, he does. He knows.
At the end, he does, but not during it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, because schizophrenia and psychosis.
So
it's all
maybe,
kind of,
maybe because during his psychosis, maybe he had another job where that security guard knew him as Mr. Smith and not as.
Exactly, because they
Made
do
up
mess
life.
around with names a lot. Like they constantly they call him the wrong name. They confuse him with somebody else. And like you had mentioned, that kind of I think you did, keeping up with the Joneses. It was easy to confuse who's Paul Allen, who's Bateman, they're all the same because they all had the same cards. They all dressed nice. They all drank their they all sat around their little table. So
Drank their 15.
my point is, I
single
think that
malt
movie
Scotch.
is definitely deeper than. Right on the surface of the cover, you'd look and think one thing.
Yeah, my headache has slightly dipped off a little bit, so I think I can
Scotch
have a
does
little bit.
that.
Yeah,
This is a top Scotch for me. This is a good one. I really like it.
it's drinkable.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's better than a lot of them that we tried. Not as good as some. All right. So I guess it goes to me this week, right? So
Dun, dun, dun. Smarter challenge.
For this, though, I do have to change props.
All right.
Oh, well, you don't really need to. Everyone
I
just
really
knows.
like that baseball cap.
Everyone knows it's going to be tin foil. Looking good. I like it.
You're going to get so many dates.
All right. So I got my tinfoil hat on now.
I'm ready to take notes.
I'm just going to watch the podcast.
I'm just.
That's a good idea. That's why there's so
Best
many
way-
views. Jesse just keeps watching it. To try
What
and-
the? Were those notes? Damn it, I missed it again. Took a turn on the highway. Replay.
Is that how we're getting so many views now?
Dude. I remember. Come on, man. I didn't even have to
He even
listen
interviewed
to it
people.
for
He
this
brought
one.
in like special
Oh,
guests.
yeah, I
and
took
stuff.
this
I know,
serious.
he took it way serious.
I was almost ready to bring in special guests, but I knew we were limited to an hour. I should have brought them in for the after show. Dude, the things these ladies would have told you will spin your head. They make you want to be Patrick Bateman.
No, I don't want to be Patrick Bateman.
Oh, I promise, man. Patrick Bateman.
I want a woman that loves me for more than just my exterior image and my face wash. Or whatever the hell he had. His
Whatever the hell he
face
had.
wash
3 kids.
regime.
That's what you got, man. 3
That's
kids.
3 kids. Yes, yeah.
All right.
kidding.
So real quickly, have you guys ever heard of the Emerald Tablet?
I have.
What do you know about it?
Okay, let me
Wizard
think
of
if this
Oz.
is let me think if I can remember. So, I want to believe it was a Peruvian, believed to have been a Peruvian, potentially alien, but wise person who passed it on to the Egyptians, who have used it to translate some of the most and in modern day times too. Like this is real. It's not fake. It's right there in front of us. Galileo, I think, used it, and it may not have been Galileo, but I thought it was Galileo used it and actually started deciphering pieces, finding out about triangles and other pieces, and how all of the secrets in the universe are contained in these emerald tablets.
Okay. So with the Emerald Tablets.
Could be a little bit wrong.
Well, don't tell too. Don't I have to research it? Or
Oh, you're
Yeah,
gonna
you're going to research it. Yeah, yeah.
don't like, you're
I'm
giving it all away. I want to answer
No.
research. I was watching the podcast.
Actually, like he's on like if we were going to a ball
I
game,
scratched the surface.
if we're going to go to the Bronco, go to the stadium, go watch the Broncos play, he's like in the parking lot.
Okay.
We're not in the stadium quite yet.
But was his information accurate?
We're in the
Roughly.
parking lot.
In the parking. Okay.
I just scratched the surface.
He knew they were called a tablet.
I know that there's still, like, my guess is people like Tesla and some of these other billionaire geniuses.
I will tell you that there are people today that do utilize the tablet, and those who do utilize the information from the tablet, quite a few of them are very successful.
Boom, billionaire overnight.
Why don't I use the tablet information?
Because you
I
need a
don't know.
supercomputer to
Why
decide.
don't
Maybe-
you use it?
I don't know, because I think this is why we need to research it.
We need to get that tablet.
So,
Drink some scotch with
what
a
we're going to
tablet, become
do,
billionaires. Okay, I'm actually going to write this one down.
the research assignment is Thoth, Thoth. That is an Egyptian
Let me
god.
clear my throat.
Who got the tablets from the Peruvian?
Well,
Let me clear my throat.
it depends on what you've learned, because our research is going to involve Thoth and the Emerald Tablet,
Okay.
or tablets. And if you some information out there says Thoth is the one who wrote the Emerald Tablets, and he comes from Atlantis.
Ah, you know what? Damn it. That's what it was. It wasn't Peru. It was Atlantis.
So, what I want us to do is to go ahead, research Thoth and the Emerald Tablets, see what we come up with, and then we will go from there.
Dude, I'm very excited for this one.
No, this one's actually going to be one of those ones where I watch an hour and I feel so smart, and then I watch 2.5 more hours and I'm like, I don't know what happened.
All the deciphering. Yeah, I want to.
So with this here, right? I think this will also kind of, it'll tie into a little bit of Atlantis. It can tie in a little bit to Tartaria.
Heck yeah, I love it.
It can tie into quite a few different things. If you there's a there's a certain group or a certain religion that's around today that is revolved around the Emerald Tablets. So that
This
you can
reminds
dip
me
into
of
that.
like Angels and Demons and what's that?
Possibly.
Remember that movie? The books that were out for a while? Tom Hanks ended up being the starring character. What was that? Angels and Demons was one of them. The Fibonacci Code.
Da Vinci.
Da Vinci Code. Da Vinci Code.
We got you.
But in any case,
Got
yeah.
your
So that is our smarter challenge.
I like it.
It is researching Thoth and the Emerald Tablets.
I'm going to come back with notes and quotes.
I want you to call those same girls back and ask them about Thoth and the Emerald Tablets.
So
They're like, he's not
these
cute.
girls range from like 35 to like 21. They might blow my mind. I'm just telling you, they're pretty smart peoples.
Okay. So with that said, I think we did our just quick wrap up here. We covered the Scotch. So since we covered the Scotch, let's do a quick round robin on our return visit to the Scotch, and then we'll do our close.
All right.
We'll start with you, Jesse.
Gonna wrap up with, I really enjoy the color. A good color is important to me. I actually love a Scotch this darker. The 40% alcohol I do not taste. It's been interesting because the last several 15s we've had have all been 40% alcohol by volume. The last 3 or 4 18s we've had have all been 43% alcohol by volume. So I don't know what all of that, the answers to that question is why the variance of 3% over those 3 years, but I'm sure there is one. Again, though, color, good. Alcohol, it's in there. I don't taste it, and that is important to me as well. It has subdued a little bit. I still taste it, but not to the exciting extent I did when we first popped open this bottle.
Talking about your white pepper.
The white pepper, it's still there, but it's
to me, it's slight. It's not, if there is any, slight. But that's what I was getting before anyway.
It's still there, and then also the finish has mellowed out, but it's still long, and I do like that. I do enjoy this. I still got a long finish, but it has mellowed out.
Yeah, for me on this one, I like the nose of it, actually. The nose is really good. I'm getting a little bit more of that vanilla-y, and that vanilla, that wood, that orange all rolled up into one. I really like the nose on it. Yeah. And I love the long finish on this. Mm-hmm. And the spice, whether we call it peppery or spice, I like the long finish. And I still haven't drank my stuff with a cube in it. Just that watered down finish doesn't do anything for me. So I'm liking the Singleton 15-year Glen Doolin bottle.
All right. So my opinion on it, packaging, I dislike. I don't like I don't really like the color blue that it uses. I don't like the bottle that it really comes in.
The greenish bottle.
I don't mind the bluish bottle, but it's still a Pinto, man. That shape, that's not going anywhere. It's going to blow up.
So as far as the packaging goes, I'm not a huge fan of it, which because of that, I am pleasantly surprised by the Scotch. It ended up tasting way better than I thought it would. For me, on the nose, I do get some red plums, slight strawberries, but then when I go to sipping it, I get that orange peel. I do also get a little bit of the earthy tone, like the earthy tones in that long finish. And to your guys' point, there is a slight spice there. But for me, it never hit me really big like it hit you guys. But it's slight for me. And so overall, I do, like I said, this would be in the middle of the pack, but it's not drowned by the middle of the pack. So it means it does stick out on its own. So that's where I would wrap it up in. All right, Jesse, let's go ahead and start. Let's go ahead and start with our with our finish.
Start with our finish.
We're going to start with the finish this evening.
So yeah, go ahead and wrap
American
up.
Psycho. We're going to start and end in the same place. It's so weird. So, hey, by the way, I killed someone. No, did not, thankfully. So, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Brian, for the Smarter Challenge, American Psycho. I really enjoyed revisiting it and considering some of the truths and possibilities of not only the book and the movie, but just a psychopath in general. And some of my reading and research was actually in articles finding out just what a psychopath really goes through. So the eases of their life, and then also the difficulties. So the eases of their life is they don't connect to people, so they don't have to worry about, oh, what does Joe Schmo think about me today? Does he like my suit or not? But the difficulty is they care whether or not they are top dog. So the stresses or stressors are all very much internal. They are their own vindicator and worst enemy all at the same time. I really enjoyed the Smarter Challenge. Thank you, gentlemen, for enjoying the evening, enjoying a dinner, picking out a few scotches. We'll move on with another 15. And Brian, I move it to you.
Jesse, you have picked out a scotch that will be on my the top third of my scotches for sure, just because of the uniqueness. I'm really getting an idea for the different regions and what I like from them, and I know what I'm looking for now with this type of scotch, with that spicy. I would call this one of the spicier scotches. No, not necessarily. I mean, that spice just stays on my tongue. I love the long finish. So this is a memorable scotch, and I appreciate you guys humoring me with the American Psycho, because it was a cult classic and I had watched it, and by the time I got done watching, I was like, I almost wanted like a book club. I wanted someone to talk about it with, like, did you guys think this? Did you guys think that? So I appreciate it. It was like a little movie club. So thank you guys.
You're welcome. Yeah.
All right, Noah, your wrap up.
Okay, so first of all, if you guys enjoyed this particular podcast, please leave a comment, especially if you have any ideas or any kind of comments or thoughts about American Psycho. If you agree with Jesse and his female friends, and you're a female and you love the movie, please put it in the comment area. We would love to see this.
This is real.
If you think it was all imagined.
If you think it was imagined,
does that matter if it was imagined?
If you think that he really killed someone, put it in there. So please, please leave a comment letting us know what you think about American Psycho. If you've had the Singleton 15 before, leave a comment. Let us know what you think of that. Also, by leaving comments, or if you share our podcast with other people, if you like it, or if you get subscribe to it. This helps us out with the algorithms and getting our podcast out to more people, so we would greatly appreciate that. Patrons, we do an after-hour show, although the after-hour shows have not been posted yet. So if you're a patron, you probably are wondering, like, where are these shows at? They are actually going to be dropping a total of 4 of them at once. So all 4 of them will be coming available to you here shortly.
I like to call them NPC shows and not politically correct.
Yes, they are not politically correct. But I do, if you do want to know like additional stuff or hear us talk a little bit more about things a little bit more edgy, please become a patron member. We have memberships as low as $1. We do utilize that money to improve our equipment. We use it to hopefully in the future to go ahead.
Cameras.
Yeah, we got a third camera now.
I'm
So
leaned way to the front too often because I'm used to leaning into the photo, and now I'm like leaning.
So
You got to address the audience firsthand. What's up?
So now you can see with our patron money, we have a new camera here. You can see Brian now in a nice close-up shot, which now puts us back to Jesse and I getting our individual shots, which also means that there's more editing time involved. But
Not that anyone's complaining.
Maybe no.
But in any case, we also will utilize the money for doing like renting out a theater coming up here for Top Gun 2 in November, and some other things as well in the future. Our video portion of our podcast is located on YouTube and Rumble. And as far as audio goes, we are on Podbean, Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Google Podcast. I've given up on Apple Podcasts.
Oh, come on.
I do not know what it's going to take to get those people to work with us. But with that, for those of you out there watching this podcast, I'd like to say cheers and good night.
All right.
Good night.
Cheers.
Good night. Cheers, gentlemen.
We hope you enjoyed this evening's episode of Scotch Hour. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you have not done so already, please become a patron member with memberships starting as low as $1 a month. Thank you, and hopefully you have a wonderful evening.